Hey guys, welcome to The Market is Open. Check out our website, themarketisopen.com. In this video, we're going to go over some of the recent Tesla news and also talk about the Tesla Model Y, some of its features that it has, and why Elon Musk thinks that it's going to be a step beyond, and what this means for the Model X, which is Tesla's larger premium SUV crossover vehicle, which has been on the market since 2015. But first, please hit the bell button to subscribe and be notified of upcoming Tesla videos, and smash the like button to help support this video. You can also support us further at patreon.com/themarketisopen. Okay, so this is the first day of the Tesla Fremont factory shutdown, where they assemble their vehicles in the US, and Panasonic has also shut down its operations at the Nevada Gigafactory, which produces batteries for Tesla vehicles jointly with Panasonic. So this is some bad news for Tesla stock. However, the stock market, after being beaten to a pulp, has had a nice bounce back today, taking Tesla up over 16% and back over $500 per share. Last year, the Fremont factory produced 367,000 vehicles. About 112,000 were from the last quarter alone, and this is the factory that's being shut down. At the same time, it looks like the China Shanghai Gigafactory, which was shut down earlier in February, is now the only one running, the only factory that Tesla has that's running. So Tesla is now dependent on that factory, which has been only producing a fraction of what the Fremont factory is making in terms of vehicles, and it's currently ramping back up. We've heard that it's likely they've already passed their production run rate from before the shutdown, but still, even if Tesla was operating at its full capacity, the Shanghai plant will likely contribute towards losses on Tesla's income statement when they report their Q1 results. This is because they're in the ramp-up phase and there's a relatively small number of cars being produced. Tesla has recently built this factory, and now that it's ready, they'll have to begin depreciating it as per typical accounting rules. And so there's a large fixed depreciation expense each quarter, among other fixed costs of course, that gets spread out over a small number of vehicles, and hence you get a loss per vehicle and an overall loss. It's estimated that Fremont factory breaks even around 80,000 vehicles per quarter, give or take. The Shanghai plant is likely to be much lower, given cheaper operating costs and more advanced equipment and manufacturing capabilities than Tesla's Fremont plant, and it even costed a lot less to build the factory, which means less depreciation, and Tesla could get to profitability faster. However, with the shutdown this quarter and the ramp up, they're probably not near break even at all yet. Now, despite the shutdowns in California, Tesla still seems to have people working on their new factory, Giga Berlin, which is still in the early stages, but it seems like construction can and is continuing here. It seems that as the coronavirus rolls around the planet, now that Tesla is geographically distributed, they can keep parts of their business going as opposed to just being only in the US. Not to say that the Giga Berlin is going to be making money anytime soon. However, Tesla can continue to advance its plans for the time being. With all the social distancing measures in place, which are very important, Tesla is offering different methods of touchless delivery, something we talked about in our last video, but this is intended to prevent the spread of germs, keeping people from meeting face to face, and making customers and probably Tesla employees feel more comfortable. Tesla has recently posted about new delivery options. So they have this express delivery, which is mainly at Tesla designated delivery centers and allows new owners to be routed to their vehicles using the application or the Tesla app on their phone, and they can drop off the documents that need to be signed physically to an advisor. Tesla, of course, has a tutorial and the digital owner's manual, which can all be viewed on the car's center console screen. Now, Tesla Direct Drop is completely touchless, where Tesla will still drop off the car for you wherever you want, and you can mail back the signed paperwork. There's only about 13 states, however, that are offering this service. Now, for the Tesla Direct option, they'll have somebody there when you get the car to walk you through it, to give you the complete walkthrough, and the paperwork can be signed right away, though this service is not available in Canada and a couple other states. Finally, a carrier can deliver vehicles to people who live more than 220 miles away from a Tesla location. So a whole bunch of delivery options, but the last two, if you're buying a Tesla, you would likely need to contact them first. But overall, Tesla will just suggest the best option for you by default. So buying a car has never been this convenient before, and certainly beats the dealership model. So although Tesla isn't producing vehicles now in the US, something they tried to delay for as long as possible, the shutdown of their factory, they probably have quite a few vehicles to deliver. Of course, March, which is the last month of the quarter, is usually when Tesla delivers most of its cars within the quarter, and they can't recognize revenue on a vehicle unless it's delivered and the paperwork is correct. So this shutdown is definitely disrupting the Tesla Model Y launch and the production of the Model Y, something that they finally hit a deadline on, and yet it's being delayed, even though some people have actually gotten their Model Ys already. And there's some of the lucky few for at least a few weeks until more are produced when the factory eventually comes back online. Some of the Model Y features include a 12-volt outlet in the back of the car, tons of cargo room, they have 2 bin areas, of course the frunk, overall 66 cubic feet of space. There's no tow hitch at the moment, but perhaps eventually there will be. They have an inductive phone charger built into the car, something called off-road mode, which might be good for people who like to go camping in their Teslas. And with the glass roof, that's going to be super cool. And it is 7 inches taller than the Model 3, so it is the size of an SUV, despite looking a lot like the Model 3. Now, the Model Y has a heat pump, which is something that everybody's been talking about, but from the surface, it doesn't sound too interesting. Other vehicles have heat pumps, and it's nothing really that new in general. Even the Nissan Leaf has a heat pump. However, Elon Musk is saying that the heat pump is some of the best engineering work that he's seen in a while, and so that gets me pretty excited about this vehicle. It's also too bad that the car is not available right now. I bet that the China factory is working day and night to try to get Model Y or a Model Y line up and running there as well. There's so much excitement for this vehicle globally, so I think they're going to be pushing hard to do that. So the heat pump transfers heat more efficiently, it just moves heat around, and it should give cars more range when it's moderately cold outside relative to other Tesla's vehicles. Teslas do use resistive heating. The other ones, they basically stall the motor to create heat. So I assume that the hardware for resistive heating, which is the motor, is still there. Whether or not Tesla is using it or not, or in combination with the heat pump, or depending on how cold it is, that's currently unknown. It's also said that the heat pump would be 3 times more efficient at bringing heat where it needs to go than the resistive heating element. Though one thing is generating heat and the other moves heat around, kind of like an air conditioner, but it can cool and heat. So I'm betting that they use both of these functionalities. And I'm also excited for car expert Sandy Munro to get his hands on one of these and tear it apart and give more insight into this. However, Elon says that they use a PCB or printed circuit board design to create a heat exchanger that's physically impossible by normal means. So that sounds crazy. Another crazy thing that Elon says, but it's definitely very exciting. He says that it has a local heating loop to heat up fast and to extend the usable temperature range. So of course, a lot of drivers notice battery degradation at cold temperatures, so this vehicle is expected to simply have more range in the cold to heat up faster and not waste a lot of energy on keeping the batteries at the right temperature. He also says that octavalve is a pretty great too, so I'm hoping Sandy Munro can give more depth into this. But I really like how Tesla applies PCB manufacturing technology to different things in their vehicles for higher precision in order to make a better product that's going to be more difficult for competitors to try and match. And we're already seeing that the Model Y has a range at 316 miles, whereas the Model 3 range is at 322 for the long range versions. Not that much further ahead of the Model Y, it's about 6 miles ahead. And so the Model 3 was already best in show for its price range and its class, and so the Model Y crossover does sound like it will be a step beyond, as Elon says, and competitors such as the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which may come out later this year, might be dead on arrival because of it. Elon Musk also says that the rear body castings are a step beyond. This is something that car specialist Sandy Munro has complained about in the past about the Model 3, and Elon said that he fired that person long ago who was responsible for that part of the vehicle. And since then, we've seen that Tesla has filed patents for large stamping machines, as they call it, or casting machines is probably more accurate, to significantly reduce the number of parts and welding required, which takes time and many robots to automate. So this should reduce the cost of the vehicle, giving Tesla higher margins once they're able to ramp this up. Switching gears a little bit, S&P Global Ratings has lowered their light vehicle predictions for 2020 to less than 80 million cars. So I mean, I'm sure if every car maker has halted production, you'll see less cars being sold, no doubt. I think once things start to pick up and come back at some point, things will gradually go back to the way they were. But this said, Tesla doesn't really participate much in this 80 million vehicle count that they're citing here. They made 367,000 vehicles last year, so they have 0.4% market share. And this actually would affect competitors in a way bigger way. Think of Volkswagen, for example, which sells 10 million cars per year and will likely be impacted more in terms of the volume. Also, new and innovative products tend to sell quite well during a recession. Of course, Tesla's production is what's slowing them down. If you haven't already, be sure to watch our video from last week about who can rival Tesla, where we also outlined how much debt a lot of these other automakers have. And when the markets tank, their debts are actually not backed by deposits like traditional banks are, but rather perhaps by the vehicles themselves, which may not have that much value, whereas Tesla doesn't have any of this excess baggage or problems, including pensions or dealerships, to worry about. Finally, let's talk about vehicle cannibalization. We've already talked about the Model Y versus the Model 3 in previous videos. One's a sedan and one's an SUV crossover, and the world still has sedans despite SUVs being more popular. So let's wait and see what happens. Of course, when the Model X came out, the Model S ended up selling better, even though it was a sedan. So we'll see if anything like that even happens for the Model Y versus the Model 3. But if the overall EV market grows, then the Model 3 should be okay. Also, we ran a poll, which is targeting mainly you guys, about 3,400 viewers of the channel, so mainly Tesla fans, to be honest, to see if money wasn't an issue, which car they would buy. And 20% still said that they preferred the Model 3, which I think is fairly reflective of the overall SUV versus sedan market. People think Model 3 will drop to 20% and Model Y will cannibalize it, which actually wouldn't be so bad given Model Y's larger margins. But I look at it like Model 3 is currently nearing the quote-unquote 20% level, maybe 500,000 cars per year, something that Elon Musk has actually said in the past. And Model Y will greatly expand the market to become that 80% of sales, though that's probably the most ideal scenario. Another question that many people have had pertains to the Model X. How will the Model X survive? So I mean, Elon Musk himself doesn't think that the Model S and Model X will survive, or if it's worth to keep making them. So as long as they remain profitable, and also keep in mind that volumes can be much lower because they're more expensive vehicles, and these vehicles were how Tesla was able to fund the Model 3 program. So basically, in order to survive, they need to differentiate the Model X. Tesla does call it the Fabergé egg of cars, and there will never be anything like it ever again. So that's pretty good brand positioning. It does have the Falcon Wing door, something that Tesla will probably never make again. Tesla is also focusing their energy on Plaid mode, which will further differentiate these vehicles, the Model X and the Model S, away from the Model Y and the Model 3. Also, some fancier finishings will differentiate these vehicles. So I guess the problem is that the Model Y is Tesla's latest technology, and they may transfer some of these new features into other vehicles, similar to how Apple, for example, would come out with a new feature, say fingerprint scanning, on one device, and then over time bring it to all of their devices. So I think if some Model Y features made their way into the Model X or in Tesla's other vehicles, but it could boost range and performance, keeping the Model X ahead of the Model Y in some areas that appeal to people with more money. Let me know in the comments other reasons why you think that the Model X can continue to differentiate itself, or why you think Tesla should stop producing this vehicle along with the Model S. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the bell button to subscribe and be notified of upcoming Tesla videos, and smash the like button to help support this video. We would also super appreciate it if you supported us further at patreon.com/themarketisopen. Thanks so much for watching.